Good morning and welcome to Rise and Shine Daily. Of course, today is Thursday, the 22nd day of the month of December 2022. My name is Janice Cobham. Many thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Akwa Ibom State. Of course, it's a good Thursday morning to rise and shine. Rise and shine wherever you are. My name is Uyai Anek, and thanks for joining us. Let's not forget to like, share, and comment across all our social media platforms, and also feel free to send us text messages and WhatsApp messages. You can also phone in on the phone lines on your screen as we bring the matters to the table this morning.
Yeah, definitely. Good morning,
Good morning, Janice.
I think Nigerians at this point in time will just heave a sigh of relief concerning, would I say, a review of the withdrawal policy by the Central Bank of Nigeria, because as at yesterday, it was more like the Apex Bank has actually bowed to the pressure of Nigerians and, of course, to the National Assembly as well. So as it stands now, individuals can withdraw as much as 500,000 naira, weekly, and then entrepreneurs or business people now can also withdraw up to 5 million naira as well. And then I think that initially when you talked about when the policy came up in the initial stage, there was this fear that POS, point of sale order machines and owners and operators will be out of business, but that has been definitely cleared by the Apex Bank, so there's no fear at all.
To say that the National Assembly actually swayed into the matter and has handled it, so to speak, but there's still a lot of concerns in terms of the introduction of the new Naira notes into the market. Several analysts, including the World Bank, have said it's really going to affect the economy, especially for those people that are doing small scale businesses. So beyond retweaking the policy for withdrawal, we still have an issue on our hands in terms of how well embraced the new Naira note is going to be and the effect it's going to have on the economy. So more to say, we can be looking at the fact that there are tough times ahead for Nigerians in terms of money-related issues. But we do hope that the CBN can keep reviewing its policies, and although the new Naira has already been, Nigerians.
Yeah, and then acceptability too is one key area. We talked about it the other day, the need for very good publicity to be done, because it's a problem right now, and as we speak, a lot of Nigerians do not even seem to understand the new Naira notes that is in circulation as we speak. These monies are not accepted because for them, it looks first of all like a counterfeit note. So a lot of people are not even accepting the Naira note. So I think that a lot more should be done in terms of publicity, in terms of education, for the populace to actually know that this is a new Naira note. Now, some people would say that with time there will be that acceptability, but in the long run, why don't we start the education now that the money is in circulation and see how people get to accept it, because it's going to cause like a barrier in terms of trade in this initial stage.
The whole initiative seemed to have really been hurried from the point where the CBN hashed, bringing together about the policy, and then the time that they have released it. The whole thing seems to have been, hurried too much. So the CBN did not have time to educate the population to the grassroots. So the whole process from we are redesigning, we have redesigned, we are releasing it and all of that, it was too hurried. And you can imagine what's, how it's going to affect, Nigerians and the economy.
Andrea, do you know something? Let me just quickly add this. Do you know that even with the new Naira note in circulation, already people have started counterfeiting it? So it's a problem right now. It's really a big issue right now.
I think I was even having a transaction yesterday, and there is a particular set of 100 naira. Did this come from? And she was like, okay, someone else had actually given her. So we are even having older naira notes that should have been mopped up from the system still in circulation. Yeah. So we just hope that the CBN literally knows what they're doing, and they put their pegs far into the ground to harness all of this.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at our very big story for this morning, or major stories making the rounds this morning. Of course, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, says he will rebuild and secure Nigeria if he is voted in as president of the country in 2023. Of course, he gave this assurance in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, yesterday during the presidential campaign rally of the party. Obi, who was greeted by a huge crowd of supporters at the UJS Swene Stadium, also said, "We will secure Nigeria as one united entity. We will secure Nigeria as a federating unit." He also added, "We will ensure the rule of law and move Nigeria for consumption to production status as a nation." Of course, we know that this has been the mantra for
that's his big point.
Yes, and then he also promised to assist Cross River State develop its tourism, adding that we will make tourism work in the state. He urged the supporters not to vote for people they do not trust. Fantastic one there coming from Peter Obi, and also knowing fully well that Cross River State is known as a tourism hotspot. I think, like we always say, on this platform, that the different presidential candidates are just using the strong points of different states now, to push for their campaigns, and we see that tourism has really thrived in Cross River State, even though not much under this present administration of Professor Ben Ayade. But then over the years, we have seen different administrations try to push the tourism narrative of Cross River State. And he's saying that, or rather harping on that, initiative to say that, look, when you vote me in as the next president in Nigeria, I will make sure that I continue to push the drive of tourism in Cross River State as well. And of course, we also saw him talk to a lot of young people, a lot of students yesterday, who were very also elated, to see the president as well. I know of a friend of mine who has been pushing the obedient narrative for like forever, and he had the opportunity to meet Peter Obi one-on-one. I saw the elation on his face yesterday. It was beautiful to see that young people could actually relate with a younger president or a younger candidate that is vying for the seat of the president as well. And then there was also something that happened. Of course, we saw that he had to calm down and try to see how he could ward off some people, even though that caused a lot of security breach, when it comes to him as a presidential candidate. It made it a little bit difficult for his protocols to be able to ward off the surging crowd and all of that.
Yes, like we continue to see, campaigns are moving, it's getting hotter. The presidential campaigns are covering more states and covering it for the campaigns. Of course, Peter Obi continues to remain someone who's very astute with his words and the way he communicates the things he intends to do for Nigeria if elected as president. And I think apart from just talking about moving Nigeria from a consumer-based nation to a production-based nation, something else that Peter Obi really sells is the factor of trust. Being able to go for someone you trust, someone that has an integrity, someone that can actually defend the cause of what he's going there to do. So I mean, and the Nigeria that Nigerians are looking forward to is one that we can actually get a leader. I always say, he'd never forget, although he would get to a state, he would also always pay particular attention to the youth. He would have the general campaign visit, the elder statesmen, but then he will always, set apart a time to communicate with the young population that is, in support of his campaign, and of course push the hopes and the dreams that he has for them. And I think that is something Peter Obi and the Labour Party is getting right. We will call for this video now, and then we'll just get back.
So it's again now. So you vote tomorrow. You vote tomorrow. So. The choice on the choices that you make. Yes. Whether you will be rich or whether you will be poor depends on the choice that you make. Yes. Since 1999, we have been making the wrong choices. But in 2023, I'm sure we'll make the right choice. Yes. And that right choice is no other person than Peter Obi. Yes. You can take 10 hours. By thanking all of you for supporting us for what you're doing. Let me assure you, a government, I and that you will form. I want you to take note of what I'm saying. Please take it. We will secure and unite Nigeria. We will secure and unite Nigeria. We will ensure there's law and order. We will ensure the rule of law. No more police brutality. No more police being against students. We will ensure that our university function like university. 4 years for the 4 years. No more.
Just come back. Yeah.
Great conversations, they are having during their campaign. I think I can also spot someone like Aisha Yusufu, who is also part of the campaign as well. And a lot more other people. The Labour chairman of Cross River State was also there. How elated a lot of people are to have the presidential candidate of the Labour Party there. And he also pushed the fact that he's going to end police brutality eventually when he's been taken or voted in as the president come 2023. A lot of promises, coming out from different political parties this season, like we talked about yesterday. But it just behoves on all of them if eventually they become the number one person in the country to keep to those promises. I think that it will also help us begin as a country to regain our trust back, in governance, because right now a lot of Nigerians do not even believe in the process that is happening at all. It's more likely they should just do their thing when they come into power politics, begin to rebuild back the trust that Nigerians have in governance.
One thing else that we see with regards to the Labour Party is that, some of the very enthusiastic youths are also fronting the campaign for Peter Obi. When you speak of the likes of Aisha Yusufu, the whole country knows what she stands for and what she represents. So putting that kind of energy and that kind of influence behind the campaign team for the Labour Party also drags, the matter further for the Labour Party. So there's a lot of good happening there. The representation is building. The campaign conversations are pushing. But let's remember that all of this work that is being put together and the massive turnouts at the rallies and campaigns must culminate at the polls come February 2023. So we hope that Nigerians can actually stand up and move to the ballot, and that will be a very, very good crowning for all of these efforts put together by the parties. Well, at this point, to just move to our next story. Now we have the All Progressives Congress, his presidential campaign council, said its presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola. This is basically on the heel of the fact that there is a trending video that shows Bola Ahmed Tinubu handing down money to persons, and of course, as expected, the media has gone agog with the video, and there's been a lot of reactions with regards to this. Now, the campaign council stated this on Wednesday, noting that it would be unfair for anybody to label the alms given by its flag bearers as bribery. Now, Bola Tinubu and Shettima were seen on a 2-minute video sent out on Tuesday, giving crispy naira notes to a physically challenged during his meeting with people living with disabilities in Abuja. The video clip, which has now gone viral, met with criticism from opposition members, including Rino Omokri, former aide to President Goodluck Jonathan, and Emeka Obasi, media aide to Labour Party presidential candidate, who described the act as a brazen act of corruption. Now, that is a very controversial matter on the table, and that's why it's our trending story for today. Now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is meeting with people living with disabilities in Abuja, and his handshake.
No, I think before you even go further, if the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress is having a town hall meeting in Abuja with those that are physically challenged, and he thinks that the party wants to give alms to these people, then the alms giving should be a general alms giving, and not just calling one person aside, talking to the person, and then handing the person over. No. Okay, so I am in a town hall meeting with physically challenged people. I appreciate their challenges. I appreciate where they are in society or what they are going through. So now this is what I am donating. Okay, it's been understood that this is a free donation to the committee or to the organization or to the group of physically challenged people. That is fair enough. But when you say that someone comes, you could also see the reaction from both the vice presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Kashim Shettima, and that of the presidential candidate. You could see that there was something sneaky somewhere. You could see the reactions on their faces. So it's different if you're saying that, oh, I donate, and it's going to be free-willed. It's going to be something that will be announced for everybody to hear that this is an outright free-will donation to help this help these people cushion the effect of what it was on the news that they actually did this. They had their accolades for doing that as well. But when you call one person aside, then what does that actually insinuate?
I feel like we can also say that oftentimes when we have videos like this that is caught and hosted on the internet for these kinds of purposes, we do not know the
what happened before.
We do not know what happened before. Do we know if that particular disabled person made a presentation that so thrilled the heart of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Do we know if, I agree that if it were to be a general donation given to all the disabled at the organization or the meeting, it might have been announced. But there might be several clauses behind, because I feel like Bola Ahmed Tinubu he's not bereft of thinking to want to give money in that volume in the face of cameras when he knows that it can be dragged to any end. So I don't really feel like it was his intention wasn't to come off as being corrupt. Now, the hastiness to summarize everything done by a presidential candidate, every interaction that they have with money, the hastiness to summarize it as corruption is just really alarming for me. Because why can't he just give money to someone? That is one disabled person. How many votes can that one disabled person give him for it to be corruption? Except you gave the money and said, okay, share corruption. Because you can't say that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who donates, 100 million to flood victims, cannot give one person that, you know, he sympathizes toward money without, you know, summarily being dismissed as corruption. So I really don't buy the general debate. It's easy for opposition to jump on it, of course, but I feel like there was something this particular man did that made him, you know, come all the way up on the podium to be given that money.
Well, I know that there will definitely be different reactions to this particular story. Of course, like you said earlier, the opposition will quickly pick on it, you know, because this is political season. So whatever it is that you do that is seemingly to the opposition as unright, they will definitely use it to drag conversations and try to pull you down as well, knowing fully well that the APC would do same if they were in that same shoe as well. But again, coming from a different angle now, it could be possible that there was something, you know, astonishing or something very I think this is just a short that was randomly taken, so it was like a caught unawares kind of video, you know, and all of that. But again, I think that coming from the back end of opposition now, I think that it is not also everything that someone does that has to be kicked against or be used as a propaganda against the person or that particular political party. But again, that's what we see in Nigerian political process. You know, like I said earlier, if it was another party doing it, if it wasn't the All Progressives Congress dragging outrightly, it will be their supporters also dragging the issue as well. And I think that rate of traffic and all of that, I know that it is one thing that has become a backlash for him. So you find out that in the Nigerian political process, everything that someone does of the opposition party is being used as a tool for propaganda, you know, against the party and all of that. But I think in all, we just have to be careful of the things that, you know, will elicit those kinds of conversations or push those kinds of narrative. If you're donating money, do that openly and free-willed, knowing fully well that we have had conversations severally of how INEC is saying that the elections could be mad because of some politicians that are buying votes. And then it could also be seen that that is some kind of vote buying. Okay, I am giving you this money, go and talk to you. It could be possible that the person that was collecting the money is, you know, a leader.
Like a points person.
There's like a points person. Okay, take this. Whatever you tell your people, they will definitely do. I'll come back again and see you later, or I'll send some money more to you or something. I'm not saying that that was what was said, but it could be possible. You know, I'm just saying that literally this could happen, okay? So it could be that this person is a point person. And Elijah outrightly saying that, look, if there are people, there is no governor in Nigeria today that is not buying votes. And if there's a particular political party that is bent on vote buying, it is the APC. That's in the words of Victor Aniladra and not mine. But so you see that whatever seems like a vote buying now is a problem to even the Nigerian populace. So let us also show Nigerians actually.
Yeah, it would be important for presidential candidates, you know, at this time to be more careful, you know, with anything they're doing. Now that it includes what you say, how you say it, how you deliver it, and even how you give off money, because the intention and the motive can only be known in Bola Ahmed Tinubu's heart if he did not say it out. But now it can be misconstrued to any direction. And you know, beyond coming out to give a statement that, oh no, Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Shetima were just lending out arms, that is just a statement being given by the campaign council. Nigerians have taken what the organizing committees for campaigns also try to remind and educate their candidates of things they may do that might represent them in a bad light in the face of the electorate.
Exactly.
Because another issue is I haven't yet really seen INEC attempt to take up that particular issue, but nonetheless, we haven't seen INEC take up any money-related issue apart from Okupe's, and that wasn't even INEC.
It was EFCC.
You know, it was EFCC. So we've really not seen any cash to pay for it. We've not seen INEC do that. But at the end of the day, let all presidential candidates, including gubernatorial candidates, you know, try to live up to the guidelines given by INEC. And something else I was even going to say now, this is like for Labour Party, we see how the growing, structuring for Labour Party is beginning to give light in terms of even gubernatorial elections. So if you look around the cities across the state, we're now beginning to have visible faces for their gubernatorial candidates. So there's a lot of growth happening in these parties and activities. But it is important for everyone who's vying for any position to read, understand, and live by the guidelines of INEC, so that your aspiration is not even thwarted by something unrelated to the issue.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very,
and then it's do not carry money around. Politicians do not carry money around as well. So I am even surprised that there was money around the presidential candidate for the All Progressives Party. So if he, for example, wanted to give Alms, it's as simple as sending a message to his PA or aide or anything. Just go behind, give so person, so amount of money, and that takes you away from the spotlight of even handling money in the first place.
Well, that's just a possible.
He would have not been on the spotlight, even if he has cash on him. But he would have avoided being on the spotlight for this particular allegation if he had said, look, go to my aide and do the transaction. Let my aide give you whatever money it is they want to give to you. And then shun that, narrative of, oh, he's giving bribe.
Yeah. Well, that's it for our trending story with regards to Bola Ahmed Tinubu and handing down Alms, as said by his campaign organizing committee. But at this point, we move to the news brief. Jessica, we have Neri Joseph on standby to bring the news brief. And when we return, in Cross River State APC, political sphere. So there's a lot, coming on the heel of that. Of course, that came after Bola Ahmed Tinubu visited them in Cross River State. So all these conversations are still up ahead and rise and shine. So do stay with us.
Allowed by gross level. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of our
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every
State and government, Secretary General, delegates.
Voting for Spectrum TV to recover 40 lives in County.
A very good morning to you and welcome to your morning news briefing Spectrum live from Uyo. I am Mary Joseph. We begin the news with a report that Vice President Yemi Osibajo has visited the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in Abuja. According to reports, the visit to the Commission, INEC, has decided to deploy an EU Election Observation Mission, EOM, to observe the general elections scheduled for 25th February and 11th March 2023. According to a statement, the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy and Vice President of the European Commission, Joseph Borrell, has appointed Barry Andrews, member of the European Parliament, as chief observer for the EOM to Nigeria, recalling that the EU previously deployed election observation mission to Nigeria for the 2003, 2007, 2011, 2015 and 2019 elections. Away from that, Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme, CIWES, University of Calabar, has created an online platform to checkmate cases of fraud associated with the payment of school charges. Reports say that the platform will also help to improve the working relationship between students and the employers of UNICAL seconded on industrial attachments. To politics now, where the All Progressives Congress National Youth Leader Dayo Israel has announced the launch of the APC National Youth Wing Campaign Council. The council will help in implementation of strategies and tactics deployed to give the APC total and youth-driven victory in the 2023 general elections. Finally, at the club, Ten Hag said this ahead of the Man United's Carabao Cup round of 16 tie with Burnley on Wednesday night at Old Trafford. We'll have details of these stories and more in our news at 12. I am Mary Joseph. Let's head back to Rise and Shine where we have Janice and Uyai on standby. Have a wonderful morning.
Government, Secretary General, delegates.
Voting for Spectrum TV to recover 40 lives in County.
It never stops. Be a part of the unending action on Battle of the Fans. With expert analysis, previews and reviews of the biggest games in the biggest leagues, as well as football fan banter that never goes out of style.
To delay the progress of the league, because you're not capable. They have done their job. If to be honest, if you look at them, they have done their job.
Join us Wednesdays 5 to 6:30 p.m. Saturdays 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Only on Spectrum Television.
It is Cristiano Ronaldo!
One goal! What a finish!
Battle of the Fans.
Often told, is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
The Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution.
My Lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My Lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m.
Messi. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
On Battle of the Fans. With expert analysis, previews and reviews of the biggest games in the biggest leagues, as well as football fan banter that never goes out of style.
To delay the progress of the league, it means you're not capable. They have done their job. If to be honest, if you look at them, they have done their job.
Join us Wednesdays 5 to 6:30 p.m. Saturdays 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Only on Spectrum Television.
It is Cristiano Ronaldo.
One goal. What a finish.
Battle of the Fans. Exclusive to Spectrum TV.
Welcome back. Of course, it's still Rise and Shine Daily. We just came off the desk of the newspaper. We had Mary Joseph tell us some of the stories making the rounds in the country and, of course, the globe as well. Now, we're going to our next conversation this morning. And, of course, we've had several conversations already. We started off with our big story where we saw the league. We also brought our trendy conversation, the particular video that saw the All Progressives Congress a presidential candidate giving money to a particular disabled person, where his media team are also saying that he was given alms and not bribe on that particular one there. But again, I think we'll also still be talking about the All Progressives Congress in Cross River State now. There's just been some in-house wranglings in the APC in Cross River State. One person saying, I am supposed to be the gubernatorial candidate, while the other person is saying that I am actually the gubernatorial candidate. Another person is saying that, oh, you were not cleared properly. You were not, even after screening, you were not cleared properly. You have certificates, forgery, and all of that. And it was really a problem for the All Progressives Congress in Cross River State. But during the visitation, the town hall meeting that was held on Tuesday now in Cross River State, of course, we saw the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Tinubu, try to wade into the matter to bring peace to the two, people that stand by. He's joining us via telephone this morning. He's on standby. He's a media aide to the gubernatorial candidate of the All Progressive Congress, talking about Senator Prince Bassi Otu. He's on standby now. We'll get to him very soon. But let's just take a listen to that video that is causing the rave of the moment at this time.
Senator John Eno. No matter what degree of anger, we're bound to be disappointed as long as a human being lives. We are bound to have our regrets. But abandoning our people and cause and determination to make progressive and lead is not what you are for. I saw you at the airport, and I beg you, and I'm begging you publicly, let it end. Let it end. City boy, a father in a manner.
Of course, serious, issues there, actually. Senator John Owaneno, who was the person dragging the matter to court. We saw him at the Supreme Court. We saw him at the appeal court, even though he lost in all of this. But then he was also wishing to push it further. So let's have Barrister Ikpeyon Akaba join us at this moment. Good morning, Barrister. I'm sure you also saw that particular video.
Yeah, good morning. We were there live. We witnessed the action. So it was very refreshing. It was very interesting.
Okay. Now, my question will be, do you think that, what the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Party did in Cross River State, do you have a position in Cross River State?
Yes, as a background, recall that Senator John Owaneno had challenged the initial judgment of the Federal High Court in Calabar, which had earlier upheld Senator towards the APC as the authentic APC candidate. And the Court of Appeal delivered a judgment because the major grounds of appeal was that the court should determine whether or not the respondent, that is distinguished Senator Bassi Otu, was appropriately cleared, to participate in the governorship primary. That was one major ground of appeal that Senator Owaneno went to Court of Appeal. And the court took time and set out its arguments. That's the argument of Senator Owaneno, who said that the governorship primary screening and appeal committee, did not clear Senator Bassi Otu to take part in the governorship primaries. And the NWC could not have also cleared him, having not issued him with a waiver. But the court categorically stated that there was no breach of, any constitutional provisions of the NWC. There was also no record of any miscarriage of justice by the NWC. The NWC had the powers to clear its aspirants because party activities and internal affairs of the party. So it was because of these positions that the appeal court also, dismissed the appeal in its entirety. And the appeal court strengthened the position of the Federal High Court, saying that Senator Basitu, having presented all his credentials, having also satisfied the provisions of Section 177 of the Nigerian Constitution that outlines the requirement for some election in Nigeria as a governor, governorship election in the country, all you need to do is to be a Nigerian. Senator Basitu is a Nigerian. You need to be up to 35 years. He is more than 35 years. You need to be a registered member of a political party. Senator Basitu is a registered member of APC. Your party needs to nominate you for that election. Basitu emerged as a consensus, also won the election that was conducted. Senator Basitu has to have a school certificate, having school up to school certificate level. That's the position of the commission, or something to show evidence of having attended school up to school certificate level. Basitu is a graduate of Sociology University of Calabar. And major requirements in the Constitution that requires anybody to run for any election. And Basitu have met all the criteria. So whatever that was done were mere semantics in the words of the court. And it was academic for anybody to begin to question the qualification of a man that has been a member of the House of Representatives for 2 terms, have been a senator of the Federal Republic, chairman Senate Committee on Finance, president. The court had already given us liberation. But it is refreshing because this was an internal family struggle, in his own right. In his own right. Distinguished Senator John Wayne is a stakeholder in the APC. He's also a citizen of high repute in the state. He had the right to head to the court, which is civil, to ask for some interpretations. And the court gave him those interpretations. For the presidential candidate to come publicly, during the town hall, in the entire gathering of the APC in Crossing, very rewarding to our polity. And he did not only stop there. He did not only stop the governorship case. He went further. In Cross River Central Senatorial District, where the Speaker of the Cross River State House of Assembly is the APC candidate that won the primaries, we had Barrister Mary Kwere, another senior citizen in the state, a woman mobilizer, who was also challenging that victory. He also called her out and said the party should not be in court because in unity the party can win election without stress. So for us, he expressed the position that is indeed a unifier, is indeed a leader that wants love, that wants unity for the party so as to win election, without stress. So for us, that event, that particular action was a high point of the Tinubu for that singular unifying action. There've been enjoyment, there've been celebration. For the first time after a very long time, you saw Senator John Wayano and Senator Basitu, exchanging pleasantries with hugs and smiles. The governor of the state, who is the leader of the state political party, who is also the leader of the party in the South, also came on the podium. The chairman of the party even had to go down on his knees to express happiness. So for us, beyond the position that has been taken by our candidate, we are looking up to our candidate. He's the leader for us in the party.
Okay.
And for him to say, I beg you. There is no other thing anymore.
Okay, let me ask this question very quickly. Because you brought in the governor now as the political leader of the APC in Cross River State. Now, why didn't the governor at some point do what Tinubu just did a couple of days ago?
The governor, to the best of my knowledge, had made several attempts, had made efforts to bring Senator John Wayano to a discussion. Now, for reasons best known to the distinguished senator, that particular effort couldn't yield what was expected. But I believe that no time is late for peace. I believe that the president, anybody would have expected, and that appeal wouldn't have also come on board without the governor of the state drawing the attention of the presidential candidate. What we saw in public, there was a build-up behind. And in that build-up, definitely, it required the intervention of the governor of Cross River State. It required the intervention of other critical stakeholders of the party, like distinguished leadership, who had been making efforts to intervene. So I believe this is a combination. People like Senator Stephen Ode have been making efforts. So I think it's a collective effort, of the leadership of the party, which now the president have come to pass the message.
Okay.
So I believe it's a collective effort.
So I know you've already said that you believe that Senator Onwanino and even Mary Ekere now, yes, have received the admonition of Tinubu very well. What if in the coming weeks we still experience a rebuff? Because Onwanino's case was still intending to push it to the Supreme Court. Sure. What if there is a rebuff? We still take the case to the Supreme Court. What will be the response of the Cross River APC, family, and even your principal, as it were?
Yes, I wouldn't want to be negative, but there is no cause for alarm. I'm saying this with all amount of modesty and humility as a lawyer. The matter having been determined by the Court of Appeal, a panel of 3 judges, the appellate court. I don't see anything contrary happening at the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is just a step ahead of the appeal court. It will only be a couple of days and weeks. The Supreme Court will still come out with the same position. But I know him to be a man of high repute. I don't see him going beyond where we are. The party, in terms of what the party will do, the party continuing with its activities despite all these distractions. So I don't see the party also not continuing to do what it has been doing. But I can assure you, I'm not the spokesperson, but the body language I saw, the development I saw, the response I saw, I don't see Senator John Onwanino going beyond the presidential
was he given room to speak during the event to affirm as presidential candidate saying, look, shoot your sword, I have spoken to you at the airport, I am begging you again, and then Senator Onwanino is all smiles and not saying anything.
Exactly.
It could actually mean different things, So was he given an opportunity to speak and say, yes, I have accepted this peace treaty or whatever it is?
Now, Dennis, let me say this. There's a saying that actions speak louder than words. What we saw on the podium, their responses in terms of their actions, their responses in terms of their body languages, spoke for Senator John Onwanino. And between day before yesterday and today, because if he had anything to the contrary, I believe 2 days running, he would have responded. So for me, though they did not allow anybody to respond because the president, our presidential candidate, was still making his presentation before he came into that intervention. So I want to say, regardless of the fact that he was not given an opportunity to speak, but I know as of that moment, the way the pleasantries exchange never showed any negative action coming in.
Principal, that's Prince Basu too. We also hope that Senator Onwanino take this, home very well, and even Mary Efanga that you mentioned, so Ekere rather that you mentioned. So we start Ekpeyon Akiba and speaking towards on the reconciliation that just happened for your party.
Yes, as a final word, very quickly, Cross River State today, with the reception of our presidential candidate, what we saw just for a town hall, is a confirmation that Cross River State is APC. Don't forget that we in APC today are those that move from PDP to APC. The moment the governor moved to APC, the entire structures in PDP move with him. So Cross River State is APC. Cross River State, with the kind of candidates we have for our elections, I can assure you, Cross River State will win elections in crossover for APC.
Thank you very much, Barrister Ikpenyong Akaba. Thank you so much for your time with us on the very short breather. And when we come back, of course, we've been having a mosquito-treated, insecticide-treated nets distribution ongoing in Akwa Ibom State right now. And we have some members who are going to be talking to us on the progress so far and how Akwa Ibomites also are accepting this particular development. We'll be right back after this time out. Just stay with us.
Season's greetings.
Solid waste is a major environmental challenge in most Nigerian cities. Waste generation rates in Nigeria is estimated at 0.65 to 0.95 kilograms per capita, which gives an average of 42 million tons of waste generated annually. This is more than half of 62 million tons of waste generated in sub-Saharan Africa annually, and where and how to channel this waste become a huge problem for the nation.
The rainy season, also known as the monsoon season, is very peculiar for bringing relief from the oppressive summer's heat. While the rain is often pleasant on a hot and humid day, it also brings with it a plethora of viruses and diseases that pose serious health hazards to humans. The humid environment, heavy rains, and windy environs often spread many infectious diseases. During the monsoon season, our body's immune system, water, and foodborne diseases. Coping with illnesses associated with the rainy season can be quite challenging, as this can hamper the efficiency of daily work and lifestyle. It is essential to be informed about common infections that thrive during this season, so that precautionary measures can be taken. It is significant to note that sicknesses recurring during this season can go undiagnosed until they develop negative influences on one's health. Early detection and a few basic preventive practices of hygiene will ensure a person's safety. Resurfacing instances cold, flu, influenza, typhoid, cholera, leptospirosis, jaundice, as well as other viral and stomach infections. Back here in Akwa Ibom State, medical practitioners have reiterated the importance of being aware of rampant diseases that are predominant during the rainy season. Medical Director, Ophthalmologist and CEO, Siloam Site Company and President, Siloam Eye Foundation, Dr. Elijah Chinawa, in an interview with Spectrum Television, highlighted more on the prevailing sicknesses that reoccur during the rainy season, their ailing symptoms, and preventive measures.
It's important that we, is winding up, and there are some health challenges associated with the season because of the weather and all that. So I want us to understand that because of the season, you see that there are bushes everywhere, and flooding here and there in different parts of the country, and this provides a breeding site for mosquito, which is the protozoa, the parasite vector that carries the parasite, the plasmodium that causes malaria. So the commonest thing we should talk about that is common in this season is malarial fever. Other food and waterborne diseases like typhoid, So you see people coming down with these symptoms of anorexia, fever, headache, joint pain. And apart from malaria and typhoid, another thing you can notice here is upper respiratory tract infections, flu, and cold, because the weather is generally cold. And most kids, if they are not supervised, they sleep uncovered. With early intervention can be taken care of, but when it is poorly managed, can be complicated to lead to other things that might not be desirable for parents and the child. And that brings us to the things we can do to prevent these things from occurring. You know, for instance, if in the area of malaria, it's advisable that people should not keep standing water. You know, every water that collects in containers should be disposed of because it provides a breeding site for mosquitoes. And then bush paths should be cut as low as possible, if possible, with herbicides to remove that breeding site. And with this natural disaster Nigeria is experiencing now of flooding everywhere, so that brings the government into it. You know, the areas that have experienced flooding now should be earmarked for early intervention so that waterways can be cleared, so that we don't have a repetition of this in the coming year.
Another discomforting ailment, which is quite similar to malaria, is the dengue fever, which spreads via bites of the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. Its signs and symptoms: this disease can be extremely fatal if not well managed with adequate treatments. Prevention requires maintaining a proper hygiene culture. Furthermore, a fairly uncommon bacterial infection called leptospirosis has been identified as an illness that can be transferred from animals to humans. It is advisable to cover open bruises or cuts when stepping out, as vulnerability can lead to infection when farm animals transfer organisms into soil and water through urination. The resultant effect becomes a situation where open skin wounds get infected after establishing contact with waterlogged terrains. Symptoms that evolve as a result include headache, vomiting, diarrhea, and skin rash. Open wounds should be neatly covered to avoid infection. More so, stomach flu, also known in medical terms as viral gastroenteritis, has been noted as a contagious illness that affects the stomach and intestines. During the rainy season, stomach diseases caused by the intake of unsanitary food and abdominal pain, vomiting, and lack of appetite begin to show up with exhilarating effects. It is advisable to consume food that is hygienically prepared. Dr. Chinua throws more light on the preventive measures to avoid these diseases.
I've always said that prevention generally is better than cure. We shouldn't wait for us to be sick before we adopt healthy lifestyle. Healthy lifestyle is cheap, like regular exercising, regular workouts, lots of vitamins there, which are antioxidants that will mop up free radicals that causes aging and all manner of problems in the body. So I would advise us beyond prevention and early intervention. Let's just adopt healthy lifestyle, exercising, dieting for children. I know the economy is biting hard on people, but at least the much parents can afford to put more of protein and vitamins in their food. So this can boost their immunity and serve as a defense.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Rise and Shine coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakura. And of course, we've been having several conversations across things happening in Nigeria, politics, campaigns, Labour Party, APC. Of course, we just had our last conversation looking into the reconciliation brought about by the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Cross River State. The Akwa Ibom state government had said that there will be a distribution of insecticide-treated nets to the tune of 3.7 million to the 31 local government areas of Akwa Ibom state between the 17th and the 21st of December 2022. A lot of these activities have been seen. I know if you look around your area, you will see the markings on the wall that have RFM, if I'm not wrong, on the walls of houses that have been evaluated. And these distributions have already been made. This morning we have on set members of the team to have the discussion of how the progress has been so far. Good morning and welcome, gentlemen and ladies. Welcome. Breakthrough Action Nigeria team lead, I believe. Of course, we have Mary Bassi, who is the Advocacy, Communications and Social Mobilization Officer, Akwa Ibom Ministry of Health. Good morning and welcome. We also have Patience Ochibe. Welcome. Of course, she's the Global Health Chain Supply Procurement and Supply Management Leader. Welcome. Good morning. Okay, so malaria, insecticide malaria treatment, treated nets. So far, so good. How has it been? How was the journey of having to cover the families?
Okay, thank you very much. Just as you have rightly said, the intervention is a huge one, and all thanks to the government of Akwa Ibom State in collaboration with the United States President Malaria Initiative, Against Malaria Foundation, and all of the malaria partners that have put their heads together to make this a successful one. We have, done that rollout of distribution that commenced on the 17th of December through yesterday 21st, and this has happened across a total of over 1,382 districts, so it's quite massive. And during these 5 days, the message is for people to come out with those net cards they were given, to tender it and redeem, collect their free net with it. And that is what we have done so far. Today, we'll be looking at what we have across the state to see if there are needs to add additional day, especially where people are still unable to come up with their net cards.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask. If the day has elapsed, what happens to those who couldn't come get it?
We call it mop up. At this phase, what we are looking at is, yes, net has gone out. People should start using them. Then for those few places where people have not fully come out to redeem their net card, we'll give them additional.
Advocacy, Communication and Social Mobilization Officer for Akwa Ibom State Ministry of Health. So it means that you're mobilizing. Would you say that the process so far, you've been able to mobilize people to come out in terms of education now, and educating them on why it is necessary to first of all get the net cards and then also come out for collection of the insecticide treated nets?
Yes, that has been done, apart from through the jingles on radio.
Yeah, I also want to hear about the successes of
going around to give the message to the people to come out to redeem the nets.
Yeah.
And so far, that activity has been ongoing. It's still ongoing. And for the success, I think we have about 90 or so percent of collection. Although we needed to have 100% as at yesterday, which was the last day. But few persons are still not doing that. And I know that as at the last meeting we had with the health promotion officers of the LGS, we instructed them to go back and tell them, for those that still have the nets, we'll give you a day or two of grace to get the net before we close the exercise finally.
So this day or two is till when? So people can know exactly when it elapses totally.
We have today and tomorrow.
Okay, today and tomorrow,
yes.
Which is the 23rd, I guess. Yes. Okay.
Okay, so but then how would you rate the response of, project? I know you say you have a 90%, of course, success rate,
yeah.
But in terms of embrace and acceptability, were people enthusiastic about getting mosquito-treated net for themselves and their families?
I would say they are.
Okay.
Because just before the distribution of the nets, we in public health go around facilities, go around communities to talk about, because we have malaria in the increase in Akwa Ibom. It may interest you to know that the last malaria indicator survey, Akwa Ibom was rated higher than the one of 2018. And as such, we go to talk about use of insecticide treated nets. And a lot of them were complaining, we don't have the net, we don't have the net. And then in terms of this distribution, we've seen people come struggling. If you were in a distribution point on the first, second and third day, you see a whole number of people coming, struggling, trying to get the nets.
Okay.
So we see that they are embracing the effort of the United States government in terms of giving the net to us in the States.
I like the fact that, I like the fact that you said people came out struggling. Now I'm going to talk to Patience Ochibe, Global Health Supply Chain, Procurement and Supply Management. More like, to my understanding, you're in charge of all the nets and, distributions and everything. So when you have people come out to struggle, how would you say that the success has been to make sure that each family gets the required net that they are supposed to get and not more? Because truthfully, I know there's a health center here in Ibia. How were you able to know that each family gets the required net that they are supposed to get and not more?
Okay, thank you. So the national guidelines has stipulated how many nets a household should get. So if you have up to 8 persons in the household, you would receive 4 nets. So it's like 2 persons to 1 net. And then thankfully here in Akwa Ibom State, we're deploying the technology ICT4D to register using a mobile device and an application to register these households, scan the net cards and issue to the households. And what it means is when you come to the distribution point, we need to scan your net card before you redeem your net. And the application only permits you, so the application has a means to assign you a number of nets. If you enter 6 persons as the total number of people in the household, it only allows you or permits you to scan 3 net cards for that household. So you cannot issue more than you should at one registration for a particular household. Did this tell devices to over 5,800 household mobilizers to do this household registration across the words in the 31 LGs.
Okay, it must have been a really detailed activity. I know that something else that really caught my, wit the last time we spoke to you was the fact that this net must not be aired under the sun for you to be able to retain the the treatment that has been given. So far, is there a strategy that has helped you overlook that people are following those guidelines after receiving these nets?
Okay, thank you very much. Just as we have said, after distribution, our focus will now be on net use, utilization. Because it's one thing for people to receive net, it's entirely different for people to use them. The malaria numbers she talked about will only reduce when people use the net, not when they just keep it in their houses. So we have several strategies to reach out to people with the key messages on how to use the net. One of that approach is the use of town announcers that move from house to house to tell people, if you have collected this net, you have to air it under the shade for 24 hours. You have to sleep inside the net every night. When you wash with mild soap, etc. We also have messages on spot, on radio jingles that also explain to people on how to use this net. And also, very importantly, this time around we are using our religious institutions. We have reached them with our key messages to help us also speak to their congregation at worship centers so that everybody gets this message on how to use and how to care for the net. We would like to also mention that even as beneficiaries come out to collect their net, we don't just give them net and ask them to go home. No. Before even having to touch your net or receive your net, you'll be first meant to sit and receive a health education. That is key. You get that health education, how to use the net, how to care for the net before the net is given to you. And it is all in the hope that we have that net utilization after collection in the state, so that people don't start thinking to misuse the net or misappropriate the net or sell the net or use the net to cover crops, etc. Because these are not going to reduce the number of malaria in the state if we do that.
Okay. And then I know that the objective of all of this, initiative or drive of insecticide-treated net distribution in Akwa Ibom State,
that's very correct,
and maybe in Nigeria in totality now. But would you say that with what we have done as a team, we will be able to achieve that?
Yes, I would say it's a step forward.
Okay.
Because studies have showed that the mosquitoes that spread this malaria parasite are active from evening, night, early morning. And that is the backing behind we saying people should sleep inside an insecticide-treated net every night. So if I sleep inside the net every night and you sleep inside the net every night, we don't get exposed to that mosquito bite. And no mosquito bite, there's no way you'll be given parasite. So if you don't have the malaria parasite, I don't have the parasite, I'm protected, you are protected. So the entire community will achieve that immunity such that the parasite cannot move from one person to the other that have mosquitoes, but the parasite is not there.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd like for us to also use this opportunity to educate those watching us now on the need to stay protected and also use the insecticide treated net. Now, why I'm saying this is because of the adverse effects malaria has on, children and of course pregnant women. I would like to talk to Mary then. So just educate our, viewer on the need for this particular action to be taken.
Thank you so much. So for those of us at home watching us, information we have from studies shows that malaria kills a child in every 2 minutes. And in order for us not to have malaria, we need to sleep inside this net that we have received. First and foremost, as you get back home with your net, as you were instructed at the distribution point, we want you to air your net, not in the sun, not washed. Why am I saying not washed? Because I passed by a particular community and I saw nets in the sun and I asked the driver, stop, let me go there. And when I got there, she said her mother asked her to wash the nets. And so I told her no. I give her the health instructions there. So you don't wash the nets and you don't put it in the sun. You air it under a shade, or you put it in an empty room. If you have an empty room in your house, open the windows on your veranda that you know that the sun rays will not enter. Air that net for 24 hours and then put it up at your bed space. Tuck them well in for the four corners. If you are using a bed, you are using a mat, whatever is used in your sleeping space, you must tuck them in together at night. And then when you wake up, you roll it over and then put it up every night, because mosquito that cause malaria, it bites mostly in the night, from late in the evening, like my brother said, to the early hours of the day. And so when you sleep inside your net, I sleep inside my net, you are going to have a community protection, and so we will not have malaria again. And so for pregnant women, there's an additional to you sleeping inside the net. You go and get registered in the health facility to sleeping inside the net. Why am I bringing in the pregnant women here? Because them and children under 5 years are the most vulnerable for malaria. And when malaria catches them, it's a dangerous one. But for sleeping inside the net, it is everybody's matter. All of us need to sleep inside the net. Thank you very much. I'd hate to give this instruction. I'm going to kick malaria out of Akwa Ibom State. Thank you.
We need to kick malaria out of Akwa Ibom. Okay, so just one last question before we wrap this up. We see that the project is an initiative of USAID, and then we have also heard how much the Akwa Ibom State government have put their foot behind the project, for this particular project.
Okay, so the state government has basically supported us through the State Ministry of Health to warehouse the ITNs. Yes, we housed the ITNs for about a year, and then they also have provided us personnel to carry out this exercise all through the states. They have funded flag-off ceremonies at state level and LGA levels. So they have provided us huge support. The personnel it's massive. Over 16,000 persons were engaged to implement this ITN campaign, and it's all the states. So kudos to them for the support that they have.
Some of the feats we had, we saw Dr. Martha Odoma herself be present for some of these activities. So there has to be a very big thank you to them, and I hope this thank you too is extended by the citizens of Akwa Ibom State. The 31 local governments have been, properly covered with this initiative, and like Mary said, we do hope that everybody utilizes this mosquito treated net as given. But that's about it on what we can take for this interview. A really, really great initiative. I want to say a very big thank you to you, members of the team who turned up today. And this is an extension of thank you to everybody, 16,000 personnel, plus all the other personnel, who work directly with the Ministry of Health and, the U.S. AID members. So it has to be a big thank you, because I've interacted with some people and I saw them put their energy to the work. So this is a great initiative, a big thank you. So thank you very much, Farouk Mohammed, for coming through.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Basi, for coming through. Also a big thank you to you, Patience Uchibe, for coming through. At this point, we'll just take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be bringing you the rest of Rise and Shine show. To stay with us.
Season's greetings from Spectrum TV.
Messi. Oh my goodness. Oh.
With expert analysis, previews and reviews of the biggest games in the biggest leagues, as well as football fan banter that never goes out of style.
To delay the progress of the league, it means you're not capable. They have done their job. If to be honest, if you look at them, they have done their job.
Join us Wednesdays 5 to 6:30 p.m. Saturdays 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Only on Spectrum Television.
It is Cristiano Ronaldo.
One goal. What a finish.
Battle of the Fans. Exclusive to Spectrum TV.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
All right, welcome back. Of course, it's still Rise and Shine Daily, and we just had a very interesting conversation that had to do with the health of those in Akwa Ibom State as related to malaria and the recent distribution of insecticide-treated nets in the state to make sure that at the end of the day, we achieve a herd immunity in Akwa Ibom State, and not just in Akwa Ibom State, but in Nigeria as well. So this will be the concluding part of our conversation on the show this morning. We'll just quickly take our tidbits, and we will start with you now.
The beginning and the end of a story is often more remembered than the middle. Know what stories you are telling. Okay, so let's take our health tip for today.
And of course, if you're able to like maintain those small healthy changes, it becomes a lifestyle for you, it becomes a habit for you, and then you get to live more healthier and happier and stay alive as well.
Definitely. Okay, we have our recipe for today. Let's take that on. Of course, African goat's meat pepper soup with a touch of uziza leaf and a lot of pepper.
Yeah, you just like the uziza leaf.
Yes, the uziza is the pepper soup added with the aroma of the goat's meat. When you buy like what Akwa Ibom people call okobosemebol, and put it together.
The male-scented goat.
It's already, I'm already salivating.
Yeah.
So that's something you could do, of course, appetizer, and even as some people can even do that dessert, but in between meals or so. Anyhow you want to serve it, serve it with yam. Like goat's meat pepper soup with yam, or goat's meat pepper soup with rice, or plantain. So there's a variety of ways you can actually serve it.
I think I'll prefer mine with bread. That's starters actually. So it opens up my intestine for the main course.
So like when it's hot.
Yes, hot and sizzling. Yes. But you know, there are different ways of making this pepper soup. There's actually the one that, you know, you have to also add some other very traditional spices, like those, I don't know how to call them. There are those that look like nuts you just have to pound. There's this other one that you have to roast on the fire, and then it cracks open, and then you take out what's inside and then pound. And then there's this other one that is long as well. Usually when women have babies, you know, they use them for pepper soup for them as well. That it's long, and you have to pound it as well. And sometimes
the botanical name for that is escaping me, but the
oh, you don't even, you know the botanical name?
Yeah,
wow.
But it's keeping my mind. But that's like uyayak in
it's not even uyayak. No, it's not uyayak I was talking about. There's this other one that is long, slim and long. Yes, slim and long. You can just roast it on the fire and then pound it as well. It gives you a different aroma. But the good thing about some of the spices, traditional spices, is that it's medicinal as well. Yeah. So it just, there's something it does to the whole system of a woman's body, you know, and then flushes out, helps to flush out some of the excess blood that hasn't actually come out and all of that thing.
That's a big, did you know that Johnny's just added? Oh, I never even knew that.
No, it's a good
I'm going
thing,
to add a new practice. Every month I'm going to have hot pepper soup. Hot pepper soup.
With those traditional spices well mixed into it.
And like if you even go to the market and just ask, those women at the market will be able to tell you.
They know those spices.
Yeah, and it's even reminding me of a program that we have on Tangsio FM that's specially, you know, for our Africa, for our Aqua Cross food. Yeah, so we actually have even programs tailored to help you, you know, get to know the kinds of foods we have. We had a guest once on Rise and Shine that said we have over 300 plus recipes from the Aqua Cross region. So of course, if you listen to Spectrum TV, you can also listen to Tangsio FM to catch up on Ndidianyan. I think that's the name of the Mudianyan. That's the name of the program. So yeah, let's take our quote of the day. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Frederick Douglass, abolitionist.
I think throwing more light on this particular quote, foundation is very necessary. And if you look up to become who we want them to be. And then we also know that there are just a lot of things these days that influences children. So it is easier to build strong children, okay? So when you start from the foundation and getting it right, you find out that these children just grow. But if you pamper them, even the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. If you spare the rod and spoil your child, when that child grows up to become a man, bending him will definitely break him. So it is easier for you to bend children when they are still subtle and they can actually bend without breaking than for you to allow them grow with their excesses, and then you come to try to, you know, mend broken fences or mend broken men when they are already broken. So the point is, we cannot be crying over spilled milk. The man is broken already. There's no way we can mend him. And that's why we have so much vices in society today, actually.
Yeah, how it gets you, but there is a way it rubs off on me. The whole idea of get healed, getting healing. I feel like we are now having people that are, you know, we try to make a mantra out of everything. Get healed if you need to get healed, and getting healed doesn't have to take you 5 years. Your hurt doesn't have to linger that long. In the moment, you can actually be healed if you just unravel and expose that pain. You know, for people who pray, who believe in God, just pray, walk through the process, and we get healed every day because, you know, you're interacting with people, you're getting hurt. You need to let that go every now and then. So you can't say, oh, I was a child that wasn't well raised, I'm now a broken man, I'm going to stay broken. You need to do something to get healed. Yeah. You know, you need to deliberately do something to get healed. If you're going to read a book, you're going to get therapy, you're going to pray. But now we are having a lot of adult nursing. Oh, I was hurt. You need to give me time to get healed.
You know, at that point, it's no more your parents trying to heal you
yes.
or to mend you or to, you know, use plasticine. Plasticine, we used it in molding while in primary school those days. Use plasticine to plaster you and put you together again, or like a sculptor will use mold, clay, you know, to try to remold you again. It's just like a broken pot. Better that the sculptor destroys the whole thing and starts the process again, you know. So at that point where you are already broken, it goes beyond your parents. It now behoves on you as an individual to say that, look, I want to get healed. I want to mend my ways. I want to come out of whatever ills that is going wrong in my life and all of that. So at that point, it's just deliberateness from your own part.
Wow. So if at all you fell on the side of a child that was not well raised and then you're broken, it's now your responsibility to mend yourself and get healed so that you become a better parent.
Person. Exactly.
Yes, so that we don't, you know, repeat the circle of brokenness. But that's such a beautiful quote at the end of today.
Yeah, it is really a beautiful quote. I think at this point we just have to say thank you so much for being part of our show this morning. We hope we gave you great value for your time. We'll definitely come back again tomorrow.
And thank you to everyone who made today's production successful. Also, thank you for all your activities across all our social media platforms. Of course, the show is ending, but we will still have this interaction across all our social media platforms. So see you there. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye-bye.